So way back in season 1 of this show, we had an episode called Spring Cleaning, and a few weeks after I put it up, I was experimenting with Libsyn, and I accidentally deleted it from the show's feed. Now, I wasn't about to put it back right away, because, first of all, it would have pushed out to everybody like it was a brand new episode, and second of all, Libsyn has these monthly upload limits, and I had new stuff to share. Right now, however, that is a lot less true. We've got a bunch of episodes of the show in development, but they are extremely in development. It's going to be a couple weeks before they're ready. So today, we're doing a rebroadcast of Spring Cleaning. However, I couldn't just put the same old thing back up. This is the remix. At the top of the show, you're going to hear our conversation with Tiffany Puza from Bad Lab Brewery, kind of a coda to the local beer episode. And after that, I'm not sure what else I'm going to add in. There's going to be bonus clips, there's going to be new music. I'm going to have some fun with it. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the episode. Have a good day. Okay, bye.
Will this work?
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice and quiet in here.
But yeah, this is where we store all of our raw materials in our barrels that are empty. That's all we have. What are our liquor licenses at the brewery? So Bad Lab opened up in September. It was kind of a long time coming, but just pretty new, September 2016, so just coming up on 6-ish months. Bad Lab, it kind of all started with Chuck, our head brewer. He has a ton of experience. He worked at Long Trail for over a decade. Really, he loved his experience there. He learned so much, but he got to the point in his career where he just really wanted to do a lot more experimenting. Not as much following the recipes and just kind of doing his own thing. So he built a camp actually out in the woods in Vermont, and he started brewing some really weird stuff with no electricity. There was a couple guys here in town wanting to open a brewery, and they kind of caught wind of who this Chuck character was out in the woods of Vermont. And
So it's a good thing that they got Chuck out of the woods, like, before, I don't know, like ATF did or something?
Well, he actually still has his camp. It's his property up there, so he still heads up all the time, most weekends, and does a bunch of experimenting, and that's kind of how we get a lot of the cool new things in our lab as well. Bad Lab really is just an experimental lab. It's exactly as it sounds. It's just kind of a wacky place for our brewers to come in and just kind of try out new things.
Yeah, so we were here a few weeks ago having beer, and I remember kind of like enjoying the fact that it was this giant open concrete space. It was like drinking beer in an airplane hangar. It turns out there was a reason for that, which is that you are in the middle of opening a restaurant.
Yes, actually, as we speak, we're kind of like in the middle of construction scene. But yes, we are opening a restaurant. We're working with Chef Evan Hennessy. He's a James Beard Award semifinalist, and he's got some really great experience, and we're really excited. What we're doing is kind of like full circle restaurant style. So we actually give our spent grain to dairy cows for feed, and then once those dairy cows are no longer producing milk, we'll be using those to create the burgers in our restaurant.
Yeah, that is very full circle.
Yeah.
So now, was there any, like, trepidation? Like, oh no, now we have to deal with food? Is it gonna, like, take some of the fun away from just beer?
It's actually really exciting. The plan was to have a restaurant all along, but, restaurants take longer to put together than what we had already had in the works, and we were like, well, we may as well open the tasting room now and start getting our beer out there. So this is something we've been so excited about. I mean, food only improves your drinking experience. So we'll be, every night at the restaurant will essentially be a beer dinner. We'll have suggested pairings and new stuff coming all the time, and we're really excited to incorporate food into our menu.
The other recent thing that I had heard about Bad Lab was that you did a collaboration beer with Liar's Bench.
Yeah.
And I was just curious how the process of a collaboration beer works. Like, my only reference point would be like rap, like one brewer throws in some hops, then another brewer throws in other hops, then like Mace does a verse. So like, how does the collaboration beer work?
Yeah, it's kind of similar, actually. I mean, it really just depends on who you're working with, and that's the fun part about it, is there really are no rules to it. But what I found is most often the brewers just kind of get together, maybe have a beer ahead of time and just hash out the recipe, say, hey, we really want to use these hops. This is kind of like our signature malt bill or something like that, and then it's really just collaborative, exactly as it sounds. Somebody throws in one verse and somebody else breaks down the chorus, and you got a rap.
Nice. What do you think is like the quality most desirable in someone to work in beer? Like, is it that experimental attitude? Is it patience? Like, you have to put something in a barrel, then you can't drink it for 3 years? Like, I don't know. I'm just, what do you think? What do you think helps make a brewer a unique kind of person?
Brewers, as you've probably discovered, are always unique people. They're always a bunch of awesome characters. But I think more than anything, passion is really what makes a good brewer, because if you're not passionate about it, a lot of people don't know this, but brewing is 90% cleaning. So you have to really have a love for that finished product and really the whole process leading up to it. If you're going to dedicate, so much of your time to making sure that everything is sterile and everything, quality needs to be number one. So if you're passionate enough about it, then you don't mind doing all those other little things that make a perfect product.
This is the sound of a cool frozen river. There's a bug crawling on my phone. Now it's on my hand.
I don't know. Everybody thinks we're a bunch of jabronis. We don't know what we're doing. But we do know what we're doing.
So I was supposed to go downtown today and meet Dan because Donald Trump was giving a speech at the Hilton. But I got too busy with work and I couldn't go, which honestly felt like the universe was protecting me in a way. I remember when I was a kid, my brother and my mother and her boyfriend, we were all at a NASCAR race. And my brother and I got bored, as kids do, watching cars drive in a circle. So we went below, in search of a pizza or a soft pretzel or something. And while we were under the stands, a guy crashed his car and died. And I remember my mom saying that some benevolent force had kept us from seeing that. I think I'll be happy if, throughout my whole life, Donald Trump and I never cross paths.
It's straight. Stern talking to it.
Welcome to the last podcast. I'm your host, Zach Little. Right now, Dan and I are driving home from the Republican debate, an event that I would categorize mostly as a clusterfuck, but
2 miles, then turn right on Constitution Drive.
a deeply interesting clusterfuck. So if I'm going to organize this whole thing in the kind of nifty, we're in the car driving home, reminiscing about it type format, I guess
2 miles, turn right on Constitution Drive, then turn right.
I should just make sure that if we said anything interesting in the car on the way over here, we get that in first. Dan and I are in the car
Looks like we're driving
on our
through,
way
like, a field
to
of
Manchester
naturally occurring wildflower Jeb signs,
for debate
someone drove by
redux.
a couple
This
years ago
time,
with a Jeb
it's
sign on the back of
Republican.
their truck, and the seeds blew away, and now all these Jebs just they grow on the highway.
Okay, now we're back to our contemporary timeline. Okay, so we got to the debate. The two of us kind of feeling like, you know what, we got this pretty much in the bag. We were here for the Democrats. We got the lay of the land. I mean, Dan's done this a bunch of times.
Turn right on Constitution Drive, then turn right.
Not only did he have the lay of the land, he bought a dinner too. But as soon as we set foot in the filing room, we knew something different was going on this
2
time.
miles, keep right on to Route 101 East.
First of all, security was 1,000 times more intrusive and intense than last time. Actually, I can't even say 1,000 times more because you can't multiply by 0. And last time, there was virtually no security. We just walked in. And it turns out all that security was for a reason, because Google was a co-sponsor of tonight's debate, and they really came out high-tech, guns blazing.
There
It's a
are
little overwhelming.
crazy monitors
show
and
of technological
displays
force.
everywhere. Almost as soon as we got here,
the
somebody
snacks.
gave me one of those cardboard things to turn my phone into a
And there's a fireplace
3D
over there.
camera. I didn't tell them I have an iPhone 4 because I didn't want them to laugh at me. I'm sitting right now in one of the many impromptu lounges they've set up here on, by the way, I should say, it's still the ice rink. The finest
You would
muffins and
almost
bagels and
not
IKEA
know.
furniture. Except for
That
a couple of
unlimited money can buy.
There's a
A
little bit of
cafe.
dented plexiglass visible here and there.
There's like 8
what the
baristas
fuck is
on
this
site.
place? I almost forgot what I'm supposed to be here doing. Republicans, I think, right? What?
I think that's Larry
I'm just
Page
gonna
over there.
steal as much free stuff as
There's
I
this
can.
weird
leather spaceship chair like right in front of me. I got to try this one too. I had a fairly apocalyptic intro to read once I got here to the debate. But with all these Google bells and whistles and monitors and snacks and amenities just everywhere, I kind of forget. Yep, the leather spaceship chair is dope, as predicted.
I read a news story. It was, I don't know, maybe a year ago. Somebody got shot at the movies for talking during a movie.
Oh my god.
And the reaction from everybody was kind of like, oh, it's bad that this violence is happening in movie theaters. But I kind of get it.
I mean, you shouldn't have been talking, but man, that's so sad.
I don't know. There are people who would talk about the kind of the freedom that we've lost in the kind of the security age of now.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take your shoes off at the airport. You need to have a passport to go into Canada, et cetera, et cetera. You got to all that stuff. I understand that it's bad that it happened this way.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem too is, like, if the answer is, oh, what do you mean I don't get to run around like an asshole at the airport, or
Right.
oh, it's not fair, I don't get to scream I've got a bomb at the airport, and it's like, well, you know what? It's kind of fair that now if you said that, somebody would shoot you.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean that's. I mean, I'm not doing that anyway. It doesn't. It's. I felt like if no one told me that was a rule, nothing would change because I would never say that anyway. What am I fighting for at that point?
We talk a lot about the things that we've lost in like the post 9/11 security state, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we also gained a lot. Like, the NSA is definitely following everything that we're doing on our phones, and they're watching this conversation right now and everything. But at the same time, we have this phone. This phone is a magnificent piece of technology.
It's amazing.
So, yes, it's also bad. It's terrible that the NSA is watching everything that I'm doing on this beautiful, magical phone that I have.
That's the absolute truth.
Hey, so it's primary day now, and I'm sitting here. I just got back from the polls. There was a Hillary guy who'd come from Arkansas standing out front, in the designated electioneering section. I love that word, by the way. Anyway, he says to me, listen, we'd really appreciate it if you could vote for Hillary, and if you can't this time, that's fine, but if you could vote for her next time, that'd be great. And I looked at him like, man, you guys know exactly how this is going to play out, don't you? Also, I went down there like around lunchtime, and I thought for sure it would be mobbed. I was hoping there was a lot of young voters there, so I could make some joke like, man, I haven't seen this many young people feeling the burn since Fleet Week.
which has happened to France during the last fortnight.
Did you see Ant-Man?
Yes, yeah, I saw that, man.
That was the most fun part of Ant-Man for me, was Michael Pena. That was pretty much what made it worth it.
Yeah, I think so. And I watched it again recently, actually, and yeah, it's all right. I mean, I'm a big Marvel fan. I don't know how you are with the superheroes, but I sort of go way back with Marvel comics. So I'm excited to see every single new Marvel film. People, I'm sure, are getting fatigued with superheroes by this point, but not me. And
I think I straddle the divide. I've been like a comic books dilettante since I was like 6 years old, so I've never been that deep into it, but I've always been on the periphery of it and appreciative of it.
But I think Ant-Man was one of the sort of the least impressive ones.
Sure.
I thought that I would sort of class it with things like Iron Man 2 and Thor 2 and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, it's
Oh,
all right.
God. Thor 2 was the fucking worst. It does not transcend the form
Yeah.
like Captain America, the Winter Soldier,
Yeah,
and,
which is like a Bourne
and Iron Man
film,
3.
yeah. Yes, Iron Man 3. Well, Shane Black. I'll take anything that Shane Black is serving.
Yeah. I liked that Iron Man 3 seemed actively hostile toward being a superhero movie. Like, it seemed upset that it had to be a superhero movie, and like it was trying to sabotage itself the entire time. And I appreciated that.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. It did, in the best possible way, try to subvert its position in the
Yeah.
superhero pantheon. I mean, even something like spoilers for Iron Man 3, having the villain not be the villain.
Oh, God, that was the best.
Like, yeah. and
I know
people
some
were
comic
so
book
mad.
people were
were
upset
so mad
about
about that.
But I thought that was the funniest twist in the
Yeah.
world, too. And because even the trailers for that movie were kind of part of the setup.
Yeah.
Because the trailers for Iron Man 3 made it look like it was this really grim slog of a movie about, like, a terrorist just destroying huge chunks of the world.
Yeah.
And really, like, I mean, what the last fight took place like on a boat or something. It was like somewhere that was designed to have no structural consequence.
Yeah, it was a shipping yard.
Yeah.
Which is, I think a lot of Shane Black films end in a shipping yard getting blown up.
Take place on Christmas, then they end up at a shipping yard.
Yeah.
It's like he's got a bulletin board somewhere, and there are 2 sticky notes that just are stuck there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's Christmas Eve, and then
It's
shipping
the
yard.
ones that are left over.
And he's like, yeah, I just have to, I can't peel them off, so I've decided to work with it.
The thing hanging over Ant-Man for me was how much better it would have been if Edgar Wright had directed it.
Yes, but I sort of feel like Edgar Wright has a brain over heart problem.
Yep, which is why he lost the job, I believe.
Everything is a little over intellectualized and can sometimes, at least to me, feel kind of hollow. Like, that's how I felt after Scott Pilgrim, which I know everybody loves, and it's good.
I think it's all right. I think
All I hope with all of this stuff with Edgar Wright and Marvel and everything, I hope I like live long enough to get to read like the oral history of all the Marvel movies and find out exactly what went wrong, what's different.
Yeah.
Adam McKay and Paul Rudd did a rewrite on the Ant-Man script. I want to know what they brought to it.
I think, from what I've read, a lot of what they put into the script is the kind of the father-daughter relationship stuff. So there's Paul Rudd and his daughter, and there's Michael Douglas and Kate from Lost. What's her name? Evangeline Lilly. And, there's these kind of parallel father-daughter.
It's funny when a person's actual name is much crazier and fictional sounding than their Kate, or who was the actress who played Kate? Oh yeah, Evangeline Lilly. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, which one's the fictional name? For me in particular, I think the stuff with Evangeline Lilly and Michael Douglas is my least favourite stuff in the film. It's like, there's a scene in the middle where he explains what happened to her mum that is just like, it's just death. I just can't sort of. You're just sitting there going, why is this happening? Get back to the wacky ant stuff, and then of course they finish it with Paul Rudd doing a bit of Paul Rudd business and going, "This is awesome. I'm going to make some tea" or something like that, and that just serves to go, yeah, everybody else was bored as well, so let's put a little joke at the end.
Yeah,
all that stuff is for me what drags it down, and things like the bits where Michael Pena, bless him, where he's telling the stories, and it cuts to people talking
with his voice,
miming his words. Yeah, those bits are so Edgar Wright. They're like something out of Spaced, and they can't even be bothered. This is such a petty personal thing, but they couldn't even be bothered to actually do a whip pan. Like there's whip pan transitions in these little montages, but they're digital. They're all like fake, like you can do on After Effects or on the Final Cut or something like that.
Oh, that's a totally legitimate gripe. That's like that's the shit that I hate too. I didn't even notice that. That's because I don't normally traffic in whip pans myself, so I wouldn't have known to recognize it.
But yeah. You look again, and it's just those digital blurs. And instead of actually turning the camera, like just turn the fucking camera. And
it could have been
Wright
worse.
Would have actually turned the camera.
They could have, they could have done like Home Improvement style, like star wipes or something. It could have been really bad. It could have been like a little, like just like ants crawling across the screen, eating each frame.
An ant symbol spinning towards the camera.
We'll get back to that eventually. Probably we'll get, depending upon what level of camp the next X-Men movie has in it, because it takes place in the 80s. Well, everything's a cycle. We're all gonna get burnt out by, like Zack Snyder's gonna kill grim superhero movies dead, because I do want to see Batman versus Superman versus the Board of Education or whatever it's called, but it's gonna be grim, and it's gonna be. I'm sure it's not gonna be good. I think Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor will be good. And that'll be it.
Yeah, but that's one of those things where it's going to be like he's in a different film, isn't it? You get that from the trailer. You're just like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Like, he's doing something else entirely.
And then all the action scenes from the trailer, it looks like, what happens? Do Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman all, like, transport themselves to the Fire Planet or something? Or, like, is it the cave where Harry Potter and Dumbledore, like, find the Horcrux? And
it's just all
like,
burning.
Yeah, it's just, oh, okay, cool. So they're just fighting in the fire level from some video game.
But that's, it's Zack Snyder doing superheroes, which, like... He said about the thing, Man of Steel, everyone complained about the level of destruction at the end of the film and the sort of the callousness of it. Yeah. But I think Zack Snyder described it or defended it as like, well, that's what would happen if these super beings were fighting each other. There's going to be a cost. There's going to be things are going to get smashed up, which is completely misunderstanding the criticism. Because I don't think anybody was actually complaining about how damaged the buildings got. It was like, this is Superman and...
Yeah, why doesn't Superman care
that
he's killing everyone?
Yeah. He doesn't, like, save anybody.
Why does Superman not care about causing 100 9/11s?
Yeah, it's like, he ends Man of Steel. Like, in the last 40 minutes of Man of Steel, they destroy a city and he rescues Lois Lane twice. Like, he catches her in midair or something. And it's like, he then, like, there's this moment at the end of Man of Steel where, I don't even think it's the end, actually, because I think he goes on and has another fight after this, which, that's typical of the film, where he sort of stops in the rubble of Metropolis to have a little kiss with Lois Lane. And you're just sitting there going, mate, there's probably people trapped in the rubble all around you.
There's literally, right above you, there's like 6 people hanging from a steel beam. Go up there and save them.
Do something. Do your fucking job.
It would be funny, too, if someone who was very mean, but the people who edit together those like honest trailers and who obviously have hours and hours of their day to just fill with nonsense, somebody should just edit that scene and just have like bodies falling from buildings behind them while they're
just people screaming.
There's still things that are still exploding. There's cops that are like, we're doing what we can, but if only someone were to.
Have not camped with any sense of surprise.
Speaking of like that camera thing, I for some reason I feel like the camera has been so clearly present in a lot of movies I've been seeing recently, where it's like blood gets splattered on the lens, or it's mud, or it's some sort of other type of debris or material. And I think I'm a little done with it.
Where do you think that's coming from? Is it like the weird cinematic aftershock of like The Office on TV? People were... Because, I mean, the movie directors of today were the TV directors of 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so...
Yeah, I can see that thread.
There is like a consciousness of the camera as it's incorporated into the story in a weird way that if I was like doing media studies in college right now, I would totally try to write a paper about. Because there is like a semi-acceptance of the artifice of TV more than there used to be. But it's like, but nobody has a real clear sense of it. So at the end of The Office, when they went really full bore into the idea that it was a TV show, and we're going to start introducing the guy who holds the microphone and all that bullshit, everybody's like, wait, really? Are we going to go this far? And then, like, meanwhile, Parks and Recreation was kind of charting a different course, where it gradually became less and less realistic that there was a film crew.
Oh, yeah.
And to the point where, like, I think at the end of the third season or something, there's, like, a crane helicopter shot panning up. And I was like, oh, this is them breaking up with documentary format.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, Parks and Rec, if you even think about it for half a second, you're like, oh, I don't even think even in its initial season did they ever reference that something was being made, or that, like, this is a crazy show that for whatever reason has this convention of testimonials.
Yeah, there's like occasional, in the same way that Shakespeare would do it. We're getting back to that's happening and no one really knows why.
That's funny. That is exactly what it's pulling from. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, in the old in the original drafts of Romeo and Juliet, there's a bunch of stage directions where Romeo kind of does like a Jim Halpert face at the audience.
Yeah. I think when it comes to, directing these movies, I think it's just a bunch of guys who still have this itch that they haven't managed to scratch, and it's they want to show their hand.
Yeah.
They just want to be like, I was there too, and this was hard, and this was fucking fucked up, and I need you to understand how much we all went through. And the only way I can really do that is if I sort of break the wall a little bit.
Yeah, and they all want to do that, but nobody's enough of a egomaniac like M. Night Shyamalan to do the Hitchcock-style cameos. Mm-hmm. He's the only one who's willing to do it.
And I think we've successfully managed to put him back in that closet. We've pushed him back into the closet and said, no, you stay in there.
I think I said, after I saw Lady in the Water, I said, M. Night Shyamalan should just come up with the ideas for movies, like on sticky notes, and give it to someone else. And that seems to be what he is doing now. Although the problem is just that he learned that if you make a movie trailer, it's just from the mind of M. Night Shyamalan, everyone's going to laugh. But there was another one this year. It was called like the
Visit.
The Visit. I was going to say The Hut.
Yeah, people kept saying online and then in person, they were like, oh no, that movie's good. And I'm like, okay, I believe you. I choose to believe you. Not going to watch it.
Yeah, no way. Although, I did watch Devil. The one where the devil's in the elevator.
Movie?
Yeah, and I thought that was okay.
They should have called that the elevator movie.
They should have called it Devil Vader. Part of the reason I think is I have a pretty strong like Chris Messina bias. So if I see Chris Messina in anything, I'm kind of gonna like it.
Okay.
And so he just got that. He's like whatever happened to guys in the '80s with Springsteen, that seems to happen to me with Chris Messina. I'm like, yeah, he's just like my dude. He's like the older brother that I don't have.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
There's a couple of like political or the intersection of music and politics moments that I wish I could have been around and alive for. And one of them was like guys in the 80s reconciling Bruce Springsteen and Ronald Reagan. Kind of like the angel and devil on the shoulders of every working class white guy in the 80s. Because they loved Ronald Reagan and they loved Bruce Springsteen, and Bruce Springsteen hated Ronald Reagan.
Well, because Bruce is supposed to represent what? He's supposed to represent the boy who got out. Like the guy who got out of the small town, but didn't forget his small town.
Yeah.
Like, he's on stage, but he could be sitting next to me, like, eating corn nuts.
Yeah, I think it was Chuck Klosterman once wrote that he thinks that most Bruce Springsteen fans think that between tours he still goes back and works at, a gas station in New Jersey.
Yeah, I never understand that either, where it's like, I love this guy, but for whatever reason, I either don't know his politics or I'm choosing to ignore his politics. And you sort of just put a little glaze over the person. Like,
Yeah.
I choose to see you this way.
It's basically it probably is a chapter in that book, What's the Matter with Kansas, talking about how people in middle America vote against their own interests. I hope in that book somewhere there's an infographic with like Bruce Springsteen on one side and Ronald Reagan on the other, and a bunch of different lines connecting the two of them. If I wrote that book, that'd be in there.
There's like a line connecting the handkerchief in Bruce's back pocket to the jar of jelly beans that Ron is holding. It's like, do you see?
Now it's starting to sound a little bit more like a crazy person's notebook, but one that I'd really want to read.
The Da Vinci's Notebook of the 80s. Ooh, now that's not a bad idea for like a coffee table Urban Outfitters book.
Hey man, you know what? You've said it here out loud. It's copyrighted under your name, so chase that down, man. That's actually something that I've always thought, like, that would be a cool thing in a weird way. It's not a very ambitious goal. Hey, Shosh. The idea of like, writing the kind of sort of gimmicky book that would be on a shelf at Urban Outfitters. Not a bad goal. I think that's kind of cool.
I want, yes. For all of the ideas that I come up with, I always think to myself, I just want to come up with the idea that I'm going to think is hilarious, and maybe it's misinterpreted by a bunch of other people, but they buy it anyway.
Sure.
Like just something goofy and ridiculous that sells.
People make, like Ben Schwartz, the comedian, and he was John Ralphio on Parks and Rec and everything.
Of course.
He writes like a bunch of those kind of books. There's like one that's like cute animals delivering bad news or something like that.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
That's all he does. And like that's like a weird big time money making avenue for him. Mm-hmm. And he just has this kind of invisible side career as a novelty book publisher.
God, that guy's got it figured out. He figured it out.
Yeah.
He went in like 3 or 4 different directions, and he's able to sort of walk all 4 paths at the same time.
And he got to sort of be the voice of BB-8 in Star Wars. Although supposedly it was a little more, it ended up being more Bill Hader that was actually on the film.
Right, and what they did was sort of the inspiration for what was done, right? Like they aren't technically the voices of what we hear in the movie.
I don't think so. No, I think I think they just did a lot of groundwork.
What comedy nerd on the Star Wars team was like, get those two?
Mainly
because I just want to meet them.
I think maybe it was J.J. Abrams, because he worked with Ben Schwartz on like a pilot many years ago.
Oh.
So,
damn.
Yeah, so that's...
Benny, you figured it out. You're the guy who didn't forget his small town.
Ben Schwartz is our Bruce Springsteen. It's not Chris Messina. How could I have not seen this?
Institutions is the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
What's your name? I'm Keith. Keith, I'm Dan.
Dan, you got a card?
I do.
So Dan and I are sitting at the pop-up cafe that Google magically installed in an ice rink. I'm drinking a flat white, which I don't really know what that is, but it just seemed like the appropriate thing for the GOP debate.
It's a little too early for sweets.
Yeah,
I just want to point that out.
We're sitting in front of a plate of chocolates on a slab of granite shaped like New Hampshire. I'm not exaggerating when I talk about...
It's actually slate. I think it's a piece of slate, but it's real stone.
All right, well, fair enough. But the point still stands. We're talking amenities literally on top of other amenities here. I really can't overemphasize how fancy this debate is. I mean, the Democratic debate looked like some kind of backwoods Alabama goat butchering party compared to this.
Who was leading it? But
well, we're already a little late for people to start talking about like a brokered convention. You know, usually that starts like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So.
You know what I did for the first time? I went to a delegate caucus the other week.
What was that like?
I didn't even realize that was something that happened here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you didn't even realize that you were there. You just
No,
I thought it was a dinner party, and then all of a sudden everyone's asking me to stand in this room if I like Bernie Sanders, and this room if I like
And then
Hillary.
the debate started, and we had a lot of fun. We did some live tweeting. We posted some videos. We observed as usual.
It's all starting to happen, folks. The pre-show is airing. Ted Cruz is emerging from his milk bath. The debate pre-show is happening on our monitors, but we don't get any audio. So we just have to imagine what Donna Brazile and Bill Kristol are saying. That's Bill Kristol, the Republican strategist, not Billy Crystal, the comedian. However, in recent years, they have started to look remarkably similar. They're meeting in the middle. Benjamin Button style.
Oh, I almost forgot, though. Before the debate, we went to the free speech zone. And it was a little different from last time.
Okay, so we just stepped out of the press filing room. And so for a second here, we can actually take a breath and process the sensory overload in there, courtesy of Google. I sent a picture to my family, and my sister said it looked like an image from the TV show Silicon Valley. And that's about right, you know, when it comes to absurd tech wealth. The line between reality and parody. You know, it's a very thin line. It's a very thin line, but it's very expensive. It's made from the finest LED materials. And it automatically refreshes every 10 seconds with the latest data on where that line should be. Dan and I are approaching the free speech zone, but geez, even from this distance, the tenor of the chants, it's angrier.
Who do we want? Christie! Who do we want?
Christie!
Who do we want?
Christie!
Who do we want?
Christie!
What for?
President!
What for?
President!
What for?
President!
What for?
President!
When we want him?
Now!
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 Who do we want?
Christie!
The Kasich supporters are chanting balanced budgets. This is awesome.
I really wanted to talk to some Jeb supporters, but I could not find a single one. I just wanted to, like, give them a hug and tell them everything was going to be okay or something. Also, I did have a couple of great suggestions for catchphrases for Jeb Bush. My favorite ones were, Jeb, I like the cut of his Jeb. And also, Jeb, the right man for the Jeb. But there was no one to tell these catchphrases to because there were no Jeb Bush fans in attendance. In attendance, however, was presidential candidate Vermin Supreme.
Mr. Supreme, hi.
Hi, I'm Vermin Supreme. I'm running for President of America. It's great to meet you. Thanks for having me here this evening.
How should I address you, first of all?
Vermin is fine.
Vermin is fine?
Vermin
Not
is absolutely
Mr.
fine.
Supreme?
No, that's far too far. Mr. Supreme would be my father,
Mr.
of
Supreme's
course.
your father, right. Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
So, all right, you're out here among the people in the free speech zone, which I think
free,
is very
I
appropriate.
prefer a free speech cage, if you will, keeping us safe from
So what,
free
today,
speech.
out here do you think is the most important message you'd like to spread? 'Cause
Well, of course, the lack of ponies here in America, I believe, is one of the most pressing issues that we face as a nation.
Sure, absolutely.
Lack of mandatory toothbrushing laws and effective methods of enforcing them is, of course, very important. Lack of zombie preparedness plans and is very important. Of course, these things, and of course, the lack of funded time travel research. So these are my issues, and they could be your issues. And if they resonate with you, perhaps I am a candidate that can represent you in the elections.
Yeah. Day one in your office, in office, would you sign an executive order for, first of all, probably the dental thing, right? First?
Probably, yes.
Probably start there?
Yes, of
okay,
course.
Then maybe
yes.
the time travel research?
Yes, right away, right off the bat, sure.
Yeah, obviously. And
Yeah.
of course, I guess you don't really need to worry that much about the time travel research because day one in your office, if you do accomplish it during your term, then we'll already know, right?
Indeed.
You will come back from the 4 years in the future.
Yes, I believe it's all covered in my new autoerotic fan fiction novella called Blueprint for a New America, Love in the Time of Zombies. Excerpts available on the internet. Also, some answers are in the new documentary, Who is Vermin Supreme? An Outsider Odyssey, available on Vimeo. Also on Vimeo, I'm going to put out soon the Vote Jesus movie, where I went undercover as a right-wing fundamentalist anti-sodomite candidate named Ken Stevenson. Attended many fine fundamentalist events, met many exciting people, interviewed Jerry Falwell and such. and we made a wacky mockumentary from the material.
So when you were undercover, you probably just, did you wear like a wingtip on your head instead? Just to think that
Yes,
way?
I did. I
You
was
didn't
much
seem-
more respectable. I went
Right on.
really past, and
All right,
it seemed
man.
to really work.
Well-
Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Keep the fight
And
alive.
together we will ride our ponies into a zombie-powered future.
I saw an opportunity for a joke when the Chris Christie supporters were all standing and chanting in front of a big line of traffic, but those guys were like, they were screaming. I didn't want to get punched in the face. I was thinking about like a little short thing we could do is like, remembering the candidates who aren't here with us today and what happened to them. Poor Bobby Jindal couldn't be here today. He was, of course, killed during the filming of Pixar's The Good Dinosaur. He played the cartoon dinosaur. Rand Paul's not here tonight. He's at the Bernie Sanders rally trying to score some weed. Good luck to him. Carly Fiorina is in her car just waiting out front in case anybody gets sick. Mike Huckabee, who has returned to where he belongs, playing one of those revival tent preachers who catches a stray bullet in a Cormac McCarthy novel. And of course, Jeb Bush, not gone and not forgotten, but forgotten and not gone. R.I.P. Ted Cruz just made a weird joke about bombing a school, and it really didn't go over very well. I was going to say bombed, but it's confusing in this context. And for today's Throwback Thursday question, how y'all feel about waterboarding?
Do you believe waterboarding is torture?
After the debate is when things really went sideways on us, though. The spin room's kind of happening, but with considering how maximalist everything else was, this is very demure. There's a barricade in the middle of the red carpet, and the press is on one side, and a couple of campaign representatives on the other side. It's kind of like the beginning of an award show. We're standing on the red carpet, and only like C-list actors are showing up so far.
Hi, this is Jeff Davis.
Hi,
How
sorry.
you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I got a question about werewolves.
Yes.
Okay, so anything can trigger a werewolf. They turn into the werewolf, right? It's not the moon anymore, or is it?
Well, actually, if you look back in the werewolf mythology, we did a lot of research as writers, and there's differences actually from being bitten and being born into it. It's thought that the ones who are born into it, can transform at will, and the ones who are bitten are the most monstrous ones who are kind of beholden to the full moon for their transformations. We've taken a little liberties in Teen Wolf on how that happens. So we basically say whenever his pulse rises or he gets adrenaline flowing, then he's liable to change.
All right. So then what brings it back? Is there like a safe word? Like is it like you say Fran Tarkenton and then he just turns back into a human?
Not exactly. He's got to calm down a little.
Okay, so you just have to calm down. Okay, I like
Yes.
that. So
Yeah.
it's like you're a teenager.
A safe word would be good, though.
Yeah.
You'd probably think that up for second season, you think?
Hey, you can use that one for free.
I'm more interested in you. Tell me about yourself.
Well, my name's Zach. I'm from Boston. I really have no idea what I'm doing here. What about you?
I'm Larry Poindexter. I'm from Dallas, Texas originally. I'm on a show called The Hard Times of MTV. Hard Times of RJ Berg on MTV.
The Hard Times of MTV.
That's the Hard Times of MTV.
It is not the Hard Times of MTV,
right now.
is it?
It's not. It's no. Yeah, exactly. You've been here longer than I have.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So what do you make of the controversy that Armie Hammer's body double in The Social Network did 80% of his rowing?
I am deeply, deeply upset about that.
Yeah.
I also thought they were twins. I don't understand how come I didn't know that they were actually just one person.
Yeah.
I think that's unfair. David Fincher really messed with me.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
It's terrifying that you can do on television and movies.
What are you looking forward to tonight?
Well, last year when we were here, the Jennifer Lopez, Tom Cruise moment.
Right.
The unplanned moment that we don't know is going to happen. That's what I'm looking forward to, because there'll be something.
Yes, it'll be anything except for that, I think, right?
They could do a sequel.
The Spin Room, as we have seen in the past, is quite the strange and democratic event. There's just folks walking around with a big sign behind them, and you can just go up to them and you can say whatever the hell you want. I had learned from the Democratic debate that you have to temper that weirdness and not come right out the gate with a joke, but just try to work in a charming line or two here and there. And I was fully prepared to do that, even for, Trump surrogates. Who does Trump even bring out for surrogates? Like the Harlem Globetrotters? Now, the visual metaphor of the press literally being on one side of a barricade and the GOP brass being on the other is not lost on me. Everybody's standing around, kind of looking vaguely to the right. Oh, John Kasich's on the floor there, over there. I can see his sign. Well, to be fair, that could be like John Cassidy. I can only see the first couple letters. Ben Carson's down the way, talking to reporters. Good luck to anybody who doesn't have the world's most precise microphone. Trying to get that soft talking weirdo. I'm just going to find a sound effect of like a gentle wind blowing across a prairie, and we'll just pretend that was whatever Ben Carson said to me. Thank you, Doctor. So me and Dan and CBS's Bob Schiffer and a couple other people just sort of stood around, hands in our pockets, looking around, thinking, I don't know, man. Uh-oh. Donald Trump is here. I'm crossing the spin room floor as fast as I can to get away from Donald Trump. I just accidentally kicked one of Google's 3D cameras. I'm in trouble. I know they got me on camera. It's 360 degrees. And that brings us up to now. Isn't it fun how that works? Anyway. There's a lot of like, oh wow, I didn't realize. I knew I disagreed with my neighbors. I didn't know how much and how violently they disagreed with me. Yeah. And so that is, you know, I'm still like in like 17-year-old punk fuck the system thing where I thought I was the one who violently disagreed with everybody. I didn't think anybody violently disagreed with me. I thought I was the opposition.
That's a great way to explain that. It feels different than when I was a teenager. Like, despite, you know, in West Virginia, you know, having a stance opposite probably the majority here, it feels different now. It feels like I'm not even pushing. I feel like I have these beliefs in my brain and that's where they stay. And then I'm hearing Trump for president, rebel flag, like just in my face. It's like, man, I'm not the vocal one.
The reason it feels different is because now we're the system.
Oh shit!
I was just saying how nice it is. Mm-hmm. I don't mind taking my shoes off at the airport because I'm trying to find an upside to that. I like the feeling of cold tile on my bare feet.
It's the best.
You know what? It's gotten me to take slip-on and off shoes more seriously. I wear a lot of loafers these days, and they're real comfortable.
Loafers are very... I love
Would
airports
never have
now.
gotten there. Had it not been for that shoe bomber, I'd still be in like really complicated lace-up stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. Just waiting for the underwear bomber any day now. what a great day that'll be at the airport. Oh god! Everyone just going commando through the lines, like holding their pants up. Damn it! And there's a special like little underwear bin. You throw it in.
But then the day that the underwear bin comes into play, suddenly way more people are applying for jobs at the TSA.
Good hike, boys.
Yeah, well done. Okay, so earlier Christy and I were out getting a burger, and a couple tables over, there were like 5 Trump campaign staffers, and it is uncanny how much all of these dudes look like, you know, crisp uniform, jackbooted, just following orders but with a smug fucking grin type of thugs. It's just so weird. Why do all of them look like they'd be more at home getting punched in the face by Captain America or looking on smugly while Harry Potter gets tortured by somebody? Hey, so this is spring 2017, Zach coming at you now. Got a little bit of a cold, so sorry about that. That last bit about the Trump staffers at Five Guys, I kept it in the episode because, you know, it was a solid burn. But I almost took it out. And I'm not totally sure why. Like, it's not as though my feelings about Trump or Trump supporters have changed, although I think they've deepened and kind of gotten weirder. Overall, listening to this whole episode was very weird. Even the bonus clips with Max, I think, were recorded well before the election. I'm trying to zero in on what exactly bothered me about the way I talked in this episode. I guess it sounded kind of dismissive. And when I say that, I don't mean to sound like some kind of dumbass liberal commentator who thinks that Democrats have to cater to racists more. But just, an opinion can stay the same, but it can mature and age. I've been taking these professional development classes lately. One of them was about Myers-Briggs personality types as it applies to the workplace. I'm ENFP, by the way, extroverted, intuitive, feeling, perceiving, which I don't know how much stock I put overall in the MBTI thing, but that feels pretty accurate. And in the class discussion, we talked a lot about the second half of that, the feeling, perceiving stuff, and how so much of it is coded as female. And I sort of retroactively understood a lot of how I was treated as a child, because I exhibited these touchy-feely characteristics, which society tends to be, I don't want to say suspicious of in boys. I guess it's more like when these things show up in straight boys, it causes a kind of cognitive dissonance among, dads. And I think a lot of the time when people try to break things down by gender, they're actually breaking things down by a particular set of characteristics that don't necessarily correlate to gender. So thinking about that, I took another class today, which was about listening skills. And conversations about listening tend to turn into conversations about interaction with spouses, tend to turn into conversations about gender roles. And although my professor was an older woman, she did seem sort of uncomfortable with relating the research as it relates to gender. Because I think she knew this sort of stuff is on the way out. But there was an older man in my class, and I don't mean to be ageist or to characterize someone as like a Trump supporter, although it eventually came out in the class discussions that he was, or at least he was particularly really anti-Hillary, which is a curious thing to be now in April 2017. I think, by the way, it should cost $1,000 to publicly state an opinion as to why Hillary lost now. And I think that price should go up as time goes on. So this guy in the class, even as the rest of the class and the professor sort of bumped up against the gender stuff and seemed eager to move on, he kept going back to it. He was really fixated on continuing to talk about things in terms of male and female. And I think I felt more acutely than ever the way that for a lot of people, Trump support is not necessarily anything other than holding on to something that they feel is slipping away. I think Donald Trump is a particularly useful canvas for that kind of thing, actually. Because as we're seeing more and more, when he talks, it's a random collection of words. You can assign any meaning to it that you want. And it isn't necessarily hate. It isn't necessarily anger or something like that motivates someone who supported or continues to support Trump. It's deeper and weirder than that. I don't think the conversations in this episode reflect the deepness or the weirdness very well. But, I wanted to put it back up. Okay, so this remix episode, which jumped around in time only slightly more than the original version, featured the voices of Tiffany Puzo, Dan Freund, Ted Cruz, Paul Nifsi, John Pernisek, Max Wallace, Vermin Supreme. It also featured Jeff Davis, creator of the show Teen Wolf, and Larry Poindexter, both of whom I talked to on the red carpet of the MTV Movie Awards in 2011. I told you there are going to be bonus clips in here. We'll be back with an entirely new episode in a couple of weeks. While you wait, why not tell somebody about this show, or write a review on iTunes. Thank you for listening. Have a good week.
Well, I'm just afraid, when the screen goes black, that it stops recording, but I don't think it has.
I don't think it does.